Kriti, it is chapter 14, Torchbearers. It is at yellow tag, page number 88 on the PDF.
Okay, ma'am. We'll check.
Torchbearers. Indian core competency in rocketry has been firmly established again beyond and doubt. The robust civilian space industry and viable missile-based defenses has brought India into the select club of nations that call themselves superpower. Always encouraged to follow Buddha's or Gandhi's teachings, how and why did India become a missile power is a question that needs to be answered for future generations. 2 centuries ago, uh, sorry, 2 centuries of subjugation, oppression, and denial have failed to kill the creativity and capability of Indian people. Within just a decade of gaining independence and achieving sovereignty, Indian space and atomic energy programs were launched with a perfect orientation towards peaceful applications. There were neither funds for investing in missile development nor any established requirement from the armed forces. The bitter experiences of 1962 forced us to take the basic first step towards missile development. Would a Prithvi suffice? Would the indigenous development of 4 or 5 missile systems make us sufficiently strong? Or would having nuclear weapons make us stronger? Missiles and atomic weapons are merely parts of a greater whole. As I saw it, the development of Prithvi represented the self reliance of a country in the field of advanced technology. High technology is synonymous with huge amounts of money and massive infrastructure. Neither of these was available, unfortunately, in adequate measure. So, what could we do? Perhaps the Agni missile being developed as a technology demonstrator project, pooling all the resources available in the country, could provide an answer. I was very shocked. Even when we discussed Rex in ISRO about a decade ago, that scientists and technologists working together had the capability to achieve this technological breakthrough. India can most certainly achieve state of the art technology through a combined effort of the scientific laboratories and the academic institutions. If one can liberate Indian industry from the self-created image of being mere fabricating factories, they can implement indigenously developed technology and attain excellent results. To do this, we adopted a three-fold strategy: multi-institutional participation, the consortium approach, and the empowering technology. These were the stones rubbed together to create Agni. The Agni team was comprised of more than 500 scientists. Many organizations were networked to undertake this huge effort of launching Agni. The Agni mission had two basic orientations: work and workers. Each member was dependent on other in his team to accomplish his target. Contradiction and confusion are the two things most likely to occur in such situations. Different leaders accommodate concern for workers while getting work done in their own personal ways. Some shed all concern for workers in order to get results. They use people merely as instruments to reach goals. Some give less importance to the work and make an effort to gain the warmth and approval of people working with them. But what this team achieved was the highest possible integration in terms both the quality of work and human relationships. Involvement, participation, and commitment were the key words to functioning. Each of the team members appeared to be performing by choice. The launching of Agni was the common stake not only for our scientists but for their families too. V.R. Nagaraj was the leader of the electrical integration team. Dedicated technologist that he is, Nagaraj would forget basic requirements like food and sleep while on the integration gig. His brother-in-law passed away while he was at ITR. His family kept this information from Nagaraj so that there would be no interruption in his work towards launching of Agni. The Agni launch had been scheduled for 20th April 1989. This was going to be an unprecedented exercise. Unlike launch vehicles, a missile launch involves wide ranging safety hazards: two radars, three telemetry stations, one telecommand station, and four electro optical tracking instruments to monitor the missile trajectory had been deployed. In addition, the telemetry station at Car Nicobar is tracked had the SHAR radars and were also commissioned to track the vehicle. Dynamic surveillance was employed to cover the electrical power that flows from the missile batteries within the vehicle and to control system pressures. Should any deviation be noticed either in voltage or in pressure, the specially designed automatic checkout system would signal hold. The flight operations would then be sequenced only if the defect was rectified. The countdown for the launch started at T36 hours. The countdown from T 7.5 minutes was to be computer controlled. All activities preparatory to the launch were according to schedule. We had decided to move the people living in nearby villages to safety at the time of launch. This attracted media attention and led to much controversy. By the time 20 April 1989 arrived, the whole nation was watching us. Foreign pressure was exerted through diplomatic channels to abort the flight trial. But the Indian government stood behind us like a rock and staved off any distraction to our work. We were at 14 seconds when the computer signaled hold, indicating that one of the instruments was functioning erratically. This was immediately rectified. Meanwhile, the downrange station asked for a hold. In another few seconds, multiple holds were necessitated, resulting in irreversible internal power consumption. We had to abort the launch. The missile had to be opened to replace the onboard power supplies. A weeping Nagaraj, by now informed about the tragedy in his family, met me and promised that he would be back within 3 days. The profile of these courageous people will never be written about in any history book, but it is such silent people on whose hard work generations thrive and nations progress. Sending Nagraj off, I met my team members who were in a state of shock and sorrow. I shared my SLV-3 experience with them. I lost my launch vehicle in the sea but recovered successfully. Your missile is in front of you. In fact, you have lost nothing but a few weeks of rework. This shook them out of their immobility, and the entire team went back to retrieve the subsystems and recharge them. The press was in arms and fielded various interpretations of the postponement of the flight to suit the fancies of their readership. Cartoonist Sudhir Dar sketched a shopkeeper returning a product to the salesman, saying that, like Agni, it would not take off. Another cartoonist showed one Agni scientist explaining that the launch was postponed because the press button did not make contact. The Hindustan Times showed a leader consoling press reporters. There's no need for any alarm. It's purely peaceful, non-violent missile. After a detailed analysis conducted virtually around the clock for the next 10 days, our scientists had the missile ready for launch on May 1st, 1989. But again, during the automatic computer checkout period at T10 seconds, a hold signal was indicated. A closer inspection showed that one of the control components, S1 TVC, was not working according to the mission requirements. The launch had to be postponed yet again. Now, such things are very common in rocketry and quite often happen in other countries too. But the expectant nation was in no mood to appreciate our difficulties. The Hindu carried a cartoon by Keshav showing a villager counting some currency notes and commenting to another, "Yes, it's a compensation for moving away from my hut near the test site. A few more postponements, and I can build a house of my own." Another cartoonist designated Agni as IDBM, intermittently delayed ballistic missile. Amul's cartoon suggested that what Agni needed to do was use their butter as fuel. I took some time off, leaving my team at ITR to talk to the DRDL RCI community. The entire DRDL RCI community assembled after working hours on 8 May 1989. I addressed a gathering of more than 2,000 persons. Very rarely is a laboratory or an R&D establishment given an opportunity to be the first in the country to develop a system such as Agni. A great opportunity has been given to us. Naturally, major opportunities are accompanied by equally major challenges. We should not give up and we should not allow the problem to defeat us. The country doesn't deserve anything less than success from us. Let us aim for success. I had almost completed my address when I found myself telling my people, "I promise you, we will be back after successfully launching Agni before the end of this month." Detailed analysis of the component failure during the second attempt led to the refurbishment of the control system. This task was entrusted to DRDO ISRO team. The team carried out the rectification of the first stage control system at the Liquid Propellant System Complex (LPSC) of ISRO and completed the task in record time with tremendous concentration and willpower. It was nothing short of amazing how hundreds of scientists and staff worked continuously and completed the system readiness with acceptance tests in just 10 days. The aircraft took off from Trivandrum with the rectified control system and landed close to ITR on the 11th day. But now it was the turn of hostile weather conditions to impede us. A cyclone threat was looming large. All the work centers were connected through satellite communication and HF links. Meteorological data started flowing in at 10-minute interval. Finally, the launch was scheduled for 22nd May 1989. The previous night, Dr. Arunachalam, General K.N. Singh, and I were walking together with the Defense Minister K.C. Pant, who had come to ITR to witness the launch. It was a full moon night. It was high tide, and the waves crashed and roared, as if singing of his glory and power. Would we succeed with Agni launch tomorrow? The question was foremost in all our minds. But none of us was willing to break the spell cast by the beautiful moonlit night. Breaking a long silence, the defense minister finally asked me, "Kalam, Would you like me to do to celebrate the Agni success tomorrow? It was a simple question to which I couldn't think of an answer immediately. What did I want? What was it that I did not have? What could make me happier? And then I found the answer. We need 100,000 saplings to plant at RCI. I said. His face lit up with a friendly glow. You are buying the blessings of Mother Earth for Agni. Defense Minister K.C. Pant quipped. We will succeed tomorrow, he predicted. The next day, Agni took off at 7:10 hours, which was it was a perfect launch. The missile followed the textbook trajectory. All flight parameters were met. It was like waking up to a beautiful morning from a nightmarish sleep. We had reached the launch pad after 5 years of continuous work at multiple work centers. We had lived through the ordeal of series of snags in the last weeks. We had survived pressure from everywhere to stop the whole thing, but we did it at last. It was one of the greatest moments of my life. A mere 600 seconds of elegant flight washed off our entire fatigue in an instant. What a wonderful culmination of our years of labor. I wrote in my diary that night, do not look at Agni as an entity directed upwards to deter the omnious or exhibit your might. It is fire in the heart of an Indian. Do not even give it the form of a missile as it clings to the burning pride of this nation and thus is bright. Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi called the Agni launch a major achievement in our continuing efforts to safeguard our independence and security by self reliant means. The technology demonstration through Agni is a reflection of our commitment to the indigenous development of advanced technologies for the nation's defense. The country is proud of your efforts, he told me. President Venkataraman saw in the Agni success the fulfillment of his dream. He cabled from Simla. It is a tribute to your dedication, hard work, and talent. A great deal of misinformation and disinformation had been spread by the vested interest about this technology mission. Agni had never been intended only as a nuclear weapon. What it was, what it did was to afford us the option of developing the ability to deliver non-nuclear weapons with high precision at long ranges. That it provided us with a viable non-nuclear option was of the greatest relevance to the contemporary strategic doctrines. Great ire was raised by the testing fire of Agni. According to a well-known American defense journal, especially in the United States, where congressmen threatened to put a stop to all dual use and missile related technologies with all along with all multinational aid. Gary Milholland, a so-called specialist in missiles and warhead technologies, had made a claim in the Wall Street Journal that India had made Agni with the help of West Germany. I had a hearty laugh reading the German Aerospace Research Establishment (DLR) had developed Agni guidance system, the first stage rocket, and a composite nose cone, and that the aerodynamic model of Agni was tested in the DLR wind tunnel. Immediate denial came from the DLR, who in turn speculated that France had supplied the Agni guidance electronics. American Senator Jeff Bingaman even went to the extent of suggesting that I picked up everything needed for Agni during my 4th month stay at Wallops Island in 1962. The fact that I was in Wallops Island more than 25 years ago, and at that time, the technology used in Agni did not exist even in the United States, was not mentioned. In today's world, technological backwardness leads to subjugation. Can we allow our freedom to be compromised on this account? It is our bounden duty to guarantee the security and integrity of a nation against this threat. Should we not uphold the mandate bequeathed to us by our forefathers who fought for the liberation of our country from imperialism? Only when we are technologically self-reliant will we be able to fulfill their dream. Till the Agni launch, the Indian Armed Forces had been structured for a strictly defensive role to safeguard our nation, to shield our democratic processes from the turbulence in the countries around us, and to raise the cost of any external intervention to an unacceptable level for countries which may entertain such notions. With Agni, India had reached a stage where she had the option of preventing wars involving her. Agni marked the completion of 5 years of IGMDP. Now that it had demonstrated a competence in the crucial area of re-entry technology and with tactile missiles like Prithvi and Trishul already test fired, the launches of Nag and Akash would take us into the area of competence where there is little or no international competition. These two missiles systems contained within themselves the stuff of major technological breakthroughs. There was a need to focus our efforts more intensively on them. In September 1989, I was invited by the Maharashtra Academy of Sciences in Bombay to deliver the Jawaharlal Nehru Memorial Lecture. I used this opportunity to share with the budding scientists my plans of making an indigenous air-to-air missile, Astra. It would dovetail with the development of Indian Light Combat Aircraft, LCA. I told them that our work in imaging infrared IIR and millimetric wave MMW radar technology for the Nag missile system had placed us in the vanguard of international R&D efforts in missile technology. I also drew their attention to the crucial role that carbon and other advanced composite materials play in mastering the re-entry technology. Agni was a conclusion of a technological effort that was given its start by Prime Minister Indira Gandhi when the country decided to break free from the paralyzing fetters of technological backwardness and slough off the dead skin of subordination to industrialized nations. The second flight of Prithvi at the end of September 1988 was again a great success. Prithvi has proved to be the best surface to surface missile in the world today. It can carry 1000 kg of warhead to a distance of 250 kilometers and deliver it within a radius of 50 meters. Through computer controlled operations, numerous warhead weight and delivery distance combination can be achieved in a very short time and in battlefield conditions. It is 100% indigenous in all respects: design, operations, deployment. It can be produced in large numbers as production facilities at BDL were concurrently developed during the development phase itself. The RV was quick to recognize the potential of this commendable effort and approached the CCPA for placing orders for the Prithvi and Trishul missiles, something that had never happened before. I think so. We will stop over here, Kriti. Hello, Kriti.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, are you there? Yes.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
I think so. We'll stop here for a while. What is your take on this? What the passage that I've read?
My take on is like uh, starting like when uh, like Kalam's and many scientists when they tried to like uh, a missile, ma'am, when they tried to on like there was some problem like pressing on the button, it was not uh, what to say.
Yes.
Yeah, something problem was there, no, ma'am.
Yes.
Twice
So
they
yes.
connected.
Twice it happened.
Uh,
Three
yeah,
times actually.
yeah, ma'am. So that's what, ma'am.
But did it deter them to stop?
No, no, ma'am. They tried and tried later on, like on third trial, I think so. It was successful, no, ma'am.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, uh, do you think that we should stop once we fail?
No, 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 ma'am. My takeaway is like we have to keep on trying until we get the success, ma'am.
Yes. No, and uh, like people made fun of them, right?
Yeah.
Amul is such
Yes,
a
ma'am.
big brand,
Yes, ma'am.
na? And they also made fun of it. Sudhir Dar, a very great cartoonist. Na? So many
Yeah,
people
ma'am.
made fun of them, but they did not. It did not deter them.
Yes, ma'am.
They they did not leave hope. And
Yes.
uh, like it was the first time. And
Huh.
when we were successful, what happened at that time?
Everyone like they were happy and they appreciated them.
No, what about US and Germany and France?
Uh, see, I couldn't catch that point, ma'am.
When Sir Kalam sir was staying at Wallops in 1962, what did America say about it?
I didn't
Okay,
catch
okay,
that
okay.
point.
I'll just brief you.
Huh.
It was like America could not take our success. Na, it printed that when Abdul Kalam sir had gone in 1962, he had read this about this technology at that time, which was very untrue. Then they said that we had taken help from Germany. And when Germany refused, they said, no, we had taken help from France. But all of this was untrue. We have done it
Yes.
on our own. And because we were a underdeveloped nation at that time, so they
Huh.
did not wanted to give us the credit of such a great achievement.
Yes, ma'am.
I'll continue. Chapter 15, Emancipators. On this Republic Day, 1990, the nation celebrated the success of its missile program. I was conferred the Padma Vibhushan along with Dr. Arunachalam. Two of my other colleagues, J.C. Bhattacharya and R.N. Agarwal, were also decorated with Padma Shri awards. It was the first time in the history of Free India that so many scientists affiliated to the same organization found their names on the awards list. Memories of Padma Bhushan awardee awarded a decade ago came alive. I still lived more or less as I had lived then, in a room 10 feet wide and 12 feet long, furnished mainly with books, papers, and few pieces of hired furniture. The only difference was at that time my room was in Trivandrum and now it was in Hyderabad. The mess bearer brought me my breakfast of idlis and buttermilk and smiled in silent congratulations for the award. I was touched by the recognition bestowed on me by my countrymen. A large number of scientists and engineers leave this country in their first opportunity to earn more money abroad. It is true that they definitely get greater monetary benefits, but could not could anything compensate for this love and respect from one's own countrymen? I sat alone for a while in silent contemplation. The sand and shells of Rameshwaram, the care of Idurai Solomon in Ramanathapuram, the guidance of Reverend Father Secura in Trichy and Professor Pandlai in Madras, the encouragement of Mediratta in Bangalore, the hovercraft ride with Professor Menon, the pre-dawn visit to the Tilpat range with Professor Sarabhai, the healing touch of Dr. Brahma Prakash on the day of the SLV3 failure, the national jubilation on the SLV3 launch, Madam Gandhi's appreciative smile, the post SLV3 simmering at VSSC, Dr. Ramanna's faith in inviting me to DRDO, the IGMDP, the creation of RCI, Prithvi, Agni, a flood of memories swept over me. Where were all these men now? My father, Professor Sarabhai, Dr. Brahma Prakash. I wish I could meet them and share my joy with them. I felt the paternal forces of heaven and the maternal and cosmic forces of nature embrace me as parents would hug their long lost child. I scribbled in my diary, away fond thoughts and vex my soul no more. Work claimed my wakeful nights, my busy days. Albeit brought memories of Rameshwaram shore, yet my haunt my dreaming gaze. A fortnight later, Iyer and his team celebrated the awards for the missile program with the maiden flight of Nag. They repeated the feat again on the very next day, thus testing twice over for the first Indian all-composite airframe and propulsion system. These tests also proved the worth of the indigenous thermal batteries. India had achieved the status of having a third generation anti tank missile with fire and forget capability, on par with any state of the art technology in the world. Indigenous composite technology had achieved a major milestone. The success of NAG also confirmed the efficacy of the consortium approach, which had led to the successful development of Agni. NAG uses two technologies, an imaging infrared IIR system and a millimetric wave MMW seeker radar as its guiding eye. No single laboratory in the country could possess the capability of developing these highly advanced systems. But the urge to succeed existed, which resulted in a very effective joint effort. The semiconductor complex at Chandigarh developed the charge coupled devices CCD array. The solid physics laboratory Delhi made the matching mercury cadmium telluride MCT detectors. The Defense Science Center DSC Delhi put together all the indigenous cooling system based on the Joule-Thomson effect. The transmitter receiver front end was devised at the Defense Electronics Application Laboratory DEAL Dehradun. The special gallium arsenide gun, Schottky barrier mixer diodes, compact comparator for antenna system. India was banned from buying any of these high technology devices. But innovation cannot be suppressed by international restrictions. I went to Madurai Kamaraj University the same month to deliver their convocation address. When I reached Madurai, I asked my high school teacher, Adurai Solomon, who was by now a reverend and 80 years old. I was told that he lived in a suburb of Madurai, so I took a taxi and looked for his house. Reverend Solomon knew that I was going to give the convocation address that day. However, he had no way of getting there. There was a touching reunion between the teacher and pupil. Dr. P.C. Alexander, the governor of Tamil Nadu, who was presiding over the function, was deeply moved on seeing the elderly teacher who had not forgotten his pupil of long ago and requested him to share the dais. Every convocation day of the university is like opening the floodgates of energy, which once harnessed by institutions, organizations, and industries aids in national building. I told the young graduates, somehow I felt I was echoing Reverend Solomon's words, spoke about a half century ago. After my lecture, I bowed down before my teacher. Dreams of great dreamers are always transcended. I told Reverend Solomon, you have not only reached my goals, Kalam, you have eclipsed them. He told me in a voice choked with emotion. The next month, I happened to be in Tiruchi and used that opportunity to visit St. Joseph's College. I did not I did not find Reverend Father Sequeira, Reverend Father Erhardt, Professor Subramaniam, Professor I.M. Perumal Konar, or Professor Thota 3 Iyengar there. But it seemed to me that the stones of the St. Joseph building still carried the imprint of the wisdom of those great people. I shared with the young students my memories of St. Joseph's and paid tribute to the teachers who had molded me. We celebrated the nation's 44th Independence Day with the testing of firing of Akash. Prahlada and his team evaluated the new solid propellant booster system based on composite modified double base propellant. This propellant, with its unprecedented high energy properties, was crucial in assuring the long range surface to air missiles. The country had taken an important step in ground based air defense of vulnerable areas. Toward the end of 1990, Jadavpur University conferred on me the honor of Doctorate of Science at a special convocation. I was little embarrassed at finding my name mentioned along with that of the legendary Nelson Mandela, who was also honored at the same convocation. What could I possibly have in common with a legend like Mandela? Perhaps this was Perhaps it was persistence in our missions. My mission of advancing repertory in my country was perhaps nothing when compared with Mandela's mission of achieving dignity for a great mass of humanity. But there was no difference in the intensity of our passions. Be more dedicated to making solid achievements than in running after swift but synthetic happiness, was my advice to the young audience. The Missile Council declared 1991 the year of initiative for DRDL and RCI. When we chose the route of concurrent engineering in IGMDP, we selected a rough track. With the completion of development trials on Prithvi and Trishul, our choice was on test now. I exhorted my colleagues to commence user trials within a year. I knew that it was going to be a tough task, but that was not going to discourage us. Rear Admiral Mohan, retired, and his deputy Kapoor was to take over Trishul. I had always admired Mohan's understanding of missile command guidance. This sailor teacher scientist could outwit any other expert in the country in this field. I will always remember his candid exposition of various aspects of the command line of sight CLOS guidance system during Trishul meetings. Once he showed me a verse that he composed to highlight the woes of an IGMDP project director. It was a good way of letting off steam. Impossible time frames, word charts to boot, are driving me almost crazy as a fool. Presentations to MC to add to one's moves. If they solve anything, heaven only knows. Meetings on holidays, even at night, the family is fed up and all ready to fight. My hands are itching to tear my hair, but alas, I haven't any more to tear. I told I have handed over all my problems to my best teams in DRDL, RCI, and other participating labs. That has given me a full head of hair. The year 1991 began on a very ominous note. On the night of 15 January 1991, the Gulf War broke between Iraq and the Allied forces led by the USA. In one stroke, thanks to satellite television invading the Indian skies by that time, rockets and missiles captured the imagination of the entire nation. People started discussing Scuds and Patriots in coffee shop, houses, and tea shops. Children began flying paper kites shaped like missiles and playing war games along with the lines of what they saw on American television networks. The successful test firing of Prithvi and Trishul during the course of Gulf War was enough to make an anxious nation relax. The newspaper reports of the programmable trajectory capability of Prithvi and Trishul guidance system using microwave frequencies in virtually unjammable bands created widespread awareness. The nation was quick to draw parallels between the missile or operational in the Gulf War and our own warhead carriers. A common query I encountered was whether Prithvi was superior to a Scud, whether Akash could perform like a Patriot, and so on. Hearing a
Taranjit,
yes,
good evening, Taranjit. Uh, it's already 9:55, so you can stop whenever the paragraph stops and we can have a short discussion.
yeah. Hearing a hearing a yes or why not from me, people's faces would light up with pride and satisfaction. Uh, I think so. We'll stop here.
Yes, please.
Yeah, we'll stop here. Yes, dear Kriti.
Yes, sir.
Yes, tell me.
Like my takeaway from this, ma'am,
Yes,
one line, Kalam said, no, ma'am, something to the young generation.
yes,
Be more dedicated to making solid decisions or achievements.
yes.
That one point, ma'am.
Mm,
Yeah, like it was to be more dedicated to making achievements than in running after a swift and synthetic happiness.
yes.
Yeah,
And what else?
and
That's very nice of you, but something else?
uh,
Can I ask you a question, Kriti?
yeah,
You are in which class now? What are you doing?
Actually, my BSc in computer science and maths, ma'am, and it's a final year for me.
Acha, it's in the final year. And
Yeah.
tomorrow you are the first in the university.
Yes, ma'am.
Tomorrow when your result comes, you are first in the university, but your parents have gone abroad, your siblings are not here, your friends are not there. How would you feel?
Actually, it's a moment of like being very happy, and that moment we need to share to everyone. But when there is no family, no siblings, no friends, like we cannot even think, ma'am, like how to like be at that moment, what our reaction would be without our family, friends, and parents.
Yes. So here, Dr. Kalam also, when he was conferred Padma Vibhushan, it was
Yeah.
really very great. But
Yes, ma'am.
unfortunately, he had no one to share.
Yes,
No,
ma'am.
like there were so many people whom he remembered: his
Yes.
father, his teachers, his
Yes,
colleagues
yes,
with
ma'am.
whom he had worked, and people those who boosted him.
Hmm.
But then there was no one to share his happiness.
Yes, ma'am.
So this also shows that always we
Uh,
need our sorry.
yeah, ma'am. That is the moment like where we feel alone because when like during our hard work everyone are there, but when we get success there will no there will
Yes.
not be anyone, ma'am.
And also I love the point where he like a person when he had grown so much, he could have
Huh.
easily forgotten his teacher. But
Yes,
when he was in the town of Madurai, even though he was very far, or in the other place also he was very far, but then also he saw to it that he would go and meet his teacher. How
yes.
many of us do it today?
Oh, we find very rare that
Very
one.
rarely. Recently also, say a year back, Sundar Pichai was in India,
Yeah.
and he went in Tamil Nadu from the hometown where he is. He went all the way to meet his teacher.
Yes.
So this is something really very very touching. I was
Yes, ma'am.
almost my voice was choked up when I was reading that lines.
Yeah.
To share the same dais with your teacher is a very great thing. No?
Yes, ma'am.
Going back to your alma mater where you have studied, the school, the colleges, the people, those who have shaped you, it's
Yes,
very
ma'am.
easy to forget. When you become successful, it is very easy to forget.
Yes, ma'am.
But very people of
Try
great
to remember.
stature like Dr. Kalam, this they remember. When he was given Doctor of Science by
Huh.
Jawadhpur University, and similar at the same time Dr. Nelson Mandela was also given. And
Yes, ma'am.
instead of being happy, he was just judging that why was I like I am not so great as Nelson Mandela. Anybody
Yes.
else would have been so happy. Arey, I have been conferred such a great degree. But then
Yes, ma'am.
great men, they ponder upon whether the success that they are getting is only of theirs, or it is just by because your name has become big, so you have to share it.
Yes.
Anything else, Kriti?
Uh,
Taranjit, why don't you say what you enjoyed about this reading today?
I enjoyed the part of that teacher when I couldn't. For a moment, I was choked. It is very. I still have my two teachers, those who are alive, and the day I speak with them, like it is very difficult. One of them is in Australia, and one